All right, John, thank you. Former Biden Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, meanwhile, turning on the Dems in her new memoir, writing, quote, Biden seemed to be totally at peace with his decision to drop out of the race. But I was stunned, my feelings a blur. I was angry and sad. I was enraged and heartbroken that this man had given more than 50 years of his life to serving the American people. And in the end, he's been treated poorly by members of his own party. It was horrible. You know what? I'm going to become an independent. I don't think I can stomach being in the Democratic Party anymore. Let's bring in former Biden Deputy Cabinet Secretary Dan Koh is joining us now. Dan, welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So are you buying what Karine Jean-Pierre is selling?
Look, in terms of the Democratic Party, this weekend was a good analogy. I saw Democrats, Republicans, independents who were protesting in the millions against a president who is trying to silence us. And the analogy was apt when the president uploaded a video of himself in a king hat.
So Dan, are you going to answer the question?
Yes, I will, but please give me a moment. Literally defecating on people exercising their right to free speech.
I don't think it was literally.
A constitutional right.
Okay.
Right?
So,
and that is
Dan, let's go back to the question and stick to the point.
Yes.
Are you buying what Karine Jean-Pierre is selling? That she had no view of President Biden's decline?
I can't speak to what she saw. What I can speak to, though, is I am not buying the idea that we should leave the Democratic Party, because I saw a Democratic Party that was energized this weekend, that is fighting against taking away people's health care. And I was proud of the party, and I was proud of our country this weekend.
Okay, so did you personally witness his decline while you were in the White House?
This is what I saw, and I was in charge of hurricane response for the president in many ways. I was in the White House and the Oval Office with him when he was on the phone with the mayor of Canton, North Carolina, population 5,000, for 20 minutes, talking at length about what that mayor needed. Was Joe Biden old? Absolutely he was. But the care and attention...
What does that mean?
He reminded you of your grandfather. And he did for me.
I don't know what that means. Just tell me.
I will tell you. Did he walk a little slower than he used to? Did he talk a little slower than he used to? Absolutely. But I never once doubted his ability to be the president and where his values were. And you contrast that with President Trump, who wouldn't even call Tim Walz when Rep. Melissa Hortman was assassinated. And to me, that's disgraceful.
Do you believe he has mental decline now?
I do not. And I saw very clearly in the Oval Office a president who had his values straight and who I was proud to serve.
Okay. So this is a brand new interview. Karine Jean-Pierre, she is out there selling her book, and she appeared on CBS. She was talking about being, as you were, a part of Biden's inner circle and in the White House. She is making the case that she did not see that decline, and many are wondering how that can possibly be the case. Watch here.
You said you're a member of the inner circle and you never saw the decline. And after that, I wrote, how? Yep. You even write, Karine, that you were on the plane with him going to the debate and you didn't see anything.
Well, when we were on
the
Air Force One going to the debate, you got to remember his campaign people were on the team, his family was on the team. I actually was one of those rare trips that I didn't really see him until after the debate, even though I was on the plane. So really, I want everybody to know that I take this question incredibly seriously. I do. I was his White House press secretary, which means I had a role that saw him practically every day and traveled with him.
And you saw nothing.
For more than 95%. We've always said, we're not going to say, oh, he didn't age. He aged. And he poked fun at it. We always owned up. And with age comes what happens when you get older.
Which is?
But when we talk about the mental acuity, and again, I take this very, very seriously. I never saw anyone who wasn't there. I saw someone who was always engaged. I saw someone who understood policy, pushed us on the policy, and also understood history.
And as part of this tour, I mean, she continues to slam Democrats and your party to the point where she said she's left the party. I mean, how do you respond to her?
Look, I can't speak for what Karine feels, but as I say, under Joe Biden, drugs, for the first time, we were able to negotiate the price of prescription drugs. Hearing aids were cheaper. We had cleaner drinking water.
I didn't ask for you to speak for her feelings. I asked, how do you respond to the shot she's taking at your party?
I say that I am proud of the values and what we accomplished as a Democratic Party under the Biden administration. And when you contrast with the fact that currently many people in this country are about to see their premiums go up by over $10,000, I think the contrast is clear for the American people.
Would you have done anything differently while you were serving in that White House?
I am proud to have served an administration that we're fighting for working people, the most worker-friendly administration in history, versus a president who took away 1 million people's collective bargaining rights in our government. So yes, I'm very proud.
There are dozens of Democrat candidates who are not committing to backing Jeffries. Are you?
I think that if we are able to win back the House, then the minority leader Jeffries deserves to be Speaker. Absolutely, he does.
Got it. All right. Thank you very much, sir. Good to have you on. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.